This is a place.
This is the place?
This is a place. We want to talk about. This is a place.
Thank you for listening to This is a Place podcast. My name is Brandon,
My name is Nate.
and we want to wish everybody happy National Glizzy Day.
National what?
Glizzy Day.
Glizzy?
You know what a glizzy is?
Mm-mm.
A hot dog.
Oh, yeah?
It's National Hot Dog Day. You've never heard the term glizzy?
I don't think so.
It's slang for a hot dog or sausage, often grilled or cooked on a barbecue.
Okay.
So that's the thing. I had a feeling that you wouldn't quite get the Gen Z vocabulary. It's a couple generations removed for you.
Yeah. Love me hot dogs, though.
Hot hot dogs they're pretty good. Do you have a favorite brand, a favorite style, favorite condiment? Like what's your go-to hot dog?
You know, the older I get, the more I just like a beef hot dog with just mustard. Just a plain,
Mm,
that's kind of my go-to now. But I do enjoy like the sauerkraut, onions, relish. Like when you go to Costco or whatever, putting it all on there,
mm,
but then it sits with you for a long time.
that does. Are you a chili cheese dog type of guy?
Yeah, yeah. I do like chili dogs. I we get it every once in a while. We buy the chili, the what do they call it? Beanless chili, basically. Just basically meat with sauce to make the chili dogs. I love like Wiener Schnitzel's. Was it you I was talking to the other day where, or was it on the podcast? Where two places I go to that I love to go to, but after I eat there, I just feel
Mm,
like crap is Arctic
yeah,
Circles and Wiener Schnitzel's.
right, right.
So I do love the chili dogs from Wiener Schnitzel's and even the chili hamburgers they have there as well. But I don't go there very often because they got expensive. It used to be really cheap. You could get a lot of food for $5 at Wiener Schnitzel's like 15 years ago, probably 20 years now, but it's not the same case anymore.
I know it's on the other side of Argentina from you, but in Uruguay, did they have completos? Have you
So
had a completo? Do you know what that is?
it sounds familiar, but what is it?
It's specifically Chile that has the completos. I guess the difference is the bread's specialer. You put tomatoes, you put avocado or guacamole and mayonnaise.
Oh, mayo. I like mayo on hot dogs every once in a while.
This is the only time I've had mayo on a hot dog. I don't usually have it. It's not my go-to. I'm a ketchup guy.
Are you? And there's a lot of hot dog fans that say that ketchup doesn't belong on a hot dog.
Sue me.
And I think I've told the story. They call them ponchos down in Uruguay. I've told that story, right, of how I when it was Good Friday and we were looking for because instead of taco stands, they have poncho stands everywhere, hot dog stands. Me and my friend were kind of like in the suburbs, like city suburbs area, and we were looking for a hot dog stand. Couldn't find one because everything was closed because Good Friday. And we found one that was brand new. We were actually their first customers. That was outside of a church called God is Love.
Okay.
And my Chileno, how would you say, my companion from Chile,
Chileno.
convinced me to put this spice called ají on it,
Mm.
and it was good. Made friends with the hot dog people and those people at that church. But about 2 o'clock in the morning, luckily we had just bought a bucket. We cut a few days earlier to do some cleaning because it was coming out of both ends. That's the only time I got sick on my mission. But it
Really?
it it kicked the crap out of me, literally and figuratively, for a few hours, and then I was just beat. So I slept like the whole day the next day.
No more ponchos for you, huh?
No more ponchos. Then I told you about how I did the hot dog Olympics on
Mm-hmm.
ESPN radio.
Right. You
That
have
was fun.
quite a history with hot
I love
dogs.
hot dogs. Yeah. We usually, my kids will say, like my boys, that Sunday after church, like one of our kind of traditions is to have hot dogs after church. Doesn't always
Really?
happen, but it's kind of a thing.
That is your after church snack, huh?
There you go. Yeah.
Our family, it's Doritos with cheese on them.
Doritos with cheese, like shredded cheese or like nacho
Mm-hmm.
cheese. Huh.
Yeah. Or it could just be chips, but tortilla chips. But it's extra special if you have it on Doritos. Make sure everybody gets a hot dog, or as the youth call it, a glizzy, and celebrate National Hot Dog Day. It's fitting that it's in the month of July. You'd expect it to be a little closer to the 4th of July because that's the National Hot Dog Competition Day, but that's okay as long as it's in the month. So enjoy one on us. If you go to Costco and you just pay a small fee, how much are they?
$1.50.
$1.50. Mention this is a place podcast. They'll give you a hot dog
They'll give you a drink for free.
and a drink for free.
Like, uh, I did have a friend that I went with Costco once. Actually not a friend, a guy from a work thing, and he was mucho más frugal than I am. But
That's
he
impossible.
asked if he didn't get the drink, if they'd give him a discount. And they're like, no, it's just $1.50. But I believe Sam's Club, I believe you can get just a hot dog for like $1.30. So really you're only saving 20 cents if you don't get the drink. So,
Hmm.
but when do you not want to drink?
And the nice thing about the Costco hot dog is even though inflation, prices change, they say that thing is going to stay $1.50. Wait, how long has it been $1.50?
For a long time, they had to, because I think they had a manufacturer who made or they bought it from a third party, their hot dogs, but to be able to keep the pricing down, they bought like that manufacturer so they could sell hot dogs to themselves to keep the pricing down. But how long, like you said, how long? I feel like the other prices have gone up considerably. Maybe it's to cover the cost of the loss on the hot dogs.
And it's crazy. There's not a lot of places you'd be able to find that kind of deal. You'd probably have to go back to 1985 or maybe even 1955 or maybe even 1885 to be able to get that kind of deal.
True. Question though.
What's that?
When people always say, hey, if you ever go back to the future, why do they refer to that as going to the past? Like if you ever go back to the future, you know, get me a lottery ticket or whatever. They say like, tell me who's going to win the Super Bowl in this year. You're like, to be able to go back to the future, I have to go to the past first.
Right.
So why do they, is that, you know what you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Go back.
People always use the phrase back to the future as time travel to the past.
Hmm. Doesn't make a lot of sense.
Doesn't make sense anymore. I've had a lot of people over the years say, hey, if you ever go back to the future, I look at them like,
The
well, I have to go
past.
to the past first.
But that's fitting because that's exactly what happens in the movie we're talking about today.
Wait, what? We're talking about Back to the Future?
How did you guess?
How are you making the connection of Marty McFly in Utah?
We'll start there. But first, we got to talk about um how we get to that point anyway.
Right. Oh, can we go back to the future real quick?
Sure.
Can we back up a little bit?
Yeah.
So I have a friend who I play pickleball with, and he has a daughter who just turned 16. And apparently she asks about me all the time because she's my biggest fan. Never met me. But so I just want to wish Taylor a happy 16th birthday. Sweet 16.
Mm.
That's a good age. Wouldn't we all like to go back to when we were 16? Wouldn't we like to go back to the future when we were 16 and try it all again?
Maybe not 16, but there are some things I would change. That's for sure.
It was 1996 for me.
That's when you go back to.
That's when I was 16.
Oh, okay. So you'd go back to that time. You go back to the future at that time.
I'll go back to the future.
Yeah. I have to share a quick story. It's it's a confusing name. Have you ever seen the video of them making that movie, pitching that movie?
Oh, the guy, like, yeah, yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. Anyways, you have to go find
It's
that's a
when
funny
you,
one.
yeah, when you think about like
The whole premise.
the whole premise of it, yeah, you're like, okay, this is a really weird movie.
It's wonky, yeah. Why is he friends with this old scientist guy? Like there's no connection there. We
And
never
they
get an
never
explanation.
explain it. They never
No.
explain how that came to be, right?
Maybe it was because of the guitars. He had that really big amp at the beginning of the first movie. I don't know.
But true, that's true.
Maybe that's why
But
he's
the
like,
way they talk to each other, it's like they've been friends for a long time.
since you, yeah, yeah.
Maybe Marty used to mow his lawn,
May,
and then
maybe they were in the same ward and played basketball together.
that too. Or maybe they went back to the future together.
Maybe. Anyway, it's an interesting premise for a movie. I don't know why I remember this specific event, but in third grade, in my class, we played a guess the movie game at school. And you draw things on the whiteboard or the chalkboard and have people guess what movie it was. And he also did like a hangman thing. Anyway, I got the title of this movie mixed up and I thought it was Return to the Future, which also made sense because they need to return to the future. That's part of what they're trying to do in the movie. And so I lasted longer than anybody because nobody could guess what movie started with R and had all those elements that I was trying to spell out for him. But the movie is called Back to the Future, not Return to the Future, just if anybody was confused.
Isn't that the same thing?
It is. Yes, it is.
Hmm.
But let's get into it. Um, the whole entire three movie franchise, every scene was filmed in Utah. Did you know that?
The whole movie?
That was a lie. It's a
Okay,
lie.
I was gonna say that's a lot.
We actually, I did some digging. We only get a couple scenes. It's not until the very third movie. Like, can we really get to the third movie without talking a little bit about the first and second movie?
I guess so. If you haven't seen them by now,
Spoiler alerts.
spoiler
This when
alerts.
did the movie come out? 1986,
1985.
1985,
Pretty sure it came out in 85.
85. Then you got what 87 for the next one. I know the third one came out in 1990.
1990.
Yeah. Yeah, 1990. Wow, 1989. You guys had to wait a long time for the follow-up to that cliffhanger.
Yeah, I do remember we used to like to read the books of the movies coming out. And that was when we read Back to Future 2 and Back to Future 3, me and my
Hmm.
brother. So we were really excited when the third one was coming out. And you know they filmed 2 and 3 at the same time, right?
Oh, they did. I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
That's why, well, if you watch end of 2, they already have clips from the third
Mm,
movie.
right. Gives
And maybe,
a
yeah,
lot of
maybe
weight.
they intended it to be one movie and then they're like, oh, this is a long this is a long movie.
It's a good point. They might have.
Do you want to know some other random trivia about Michael J. Fox?
I would
Well,
love it.
you know that Michael J. Fox wasn't the original Marty McFly, right?
It was the original plan for it, but due to conflicting schedules with what was the show he was on? Family
Family
Ties.
Ties.
Because of that, he wasn't gonna have time to do this movie
I
initially.
know. I wonder what it is. That's true story or not. But so Eric Stoltz was the one who was Marty, and it just wasn't clicking. They said it wasn't working. And I think maybe they originally always wanted Michael J. Fox, and maybe
Hmm.
they never asked him because he was busy. But do you know that? Do you ever see Teen Wolf?
Yes.
They had started filming Teen Wolf before Back to the Future. They actually were filming them at the same time. So Michael J. Fox would go to Teen Wolf in the morning and record and do whatever you do. Then he would run over to down the street to Back to the Future, and at the same time did a couple episodes of Family Ties,
Wow.
which one of them was like on location in London or something like that. So it was crazy. So he was burning the midnight oil doing lots of
Yeah.
acting. But it was weird that Back to the Future actually got released before Teen Wolf.
Hmm.
But I'm sure that helped push Teen Wolf to another, you know, level because of the success of Back to the Future.
Right.
But even then, like you're talking about, I think the people on the set of Teen Wolf were kind of look at it and funny, like the premises for Back to the Future, like what movie are you making? Kind of like, okay,
Sounds
good
weird.
luck with that one.
Yeah. You got some more facts?
That's all I had. That just was
Oh,
on some show last night we were watching, and I'm like, oh, interesting enough that we're going to be talking about it.
and I didn't realize that the girlfriend from the first movie is different than the girlfriend from the second and third movie
Are you serious?
because they had to replace her too.
Do you know who the girl in the second movie is?
I do.
It's Allie with an I. It's the girl from Karate Kid. It's Daniel Russo's girlfriend. It's Elizabeth Shue.
That
Dang you, Brandon.
means nothing to me.
Okay. Hey, one more
Oh
fun
wait,
fact about the first movie.
the like his wife later in life
No,
in
no, 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 no.
in
So
Cobra Kai.
Daniel LaRusso, Elizabeth Shue is the love interest in the original Karate Kid movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen him.
Ah, dang you, Brandon.
I have seen him. It's been a long time.
So yeah, so Elizabeth Shue replaces what's her name in the second movie and third of Back to the Future. So, and she's in Adventures of Babysitting. She had a good little 80s, 90s run. Then she's kind of back again. But anywho,
It
I
was, you know who else it was supposed to be?
who
Um, Melora Hardin. She was going to be the original or the
Jennifer?
replacement. Jan
Oh,
from The Office.
oh yeah.
But she's too tall. She was too tall for Michael J.
That oh
Fox.
yeah. Yeah, I remember hearing that. Good point.
So pretty interesting. There's
What?
plenty of fun facts about this movie. It's about these
So
movies, I guess.
yeah. I mean, everybody knows Back to the Future one, and but
And it's relevant because they just put on Netflix. And last I checked, it was in the top 10. At least the first movie was in the top 10 list.
oh, very cool.
So,
So as you know, I speaking about Back to the Future, um, I started taking guitars lessons when I was 12.
okay.
So after the fact of when Back to the Future came out. But Back to the Future is a movie that you can just watch over and over, in my opinion. Watch it a
Agreed.
lot. My son loves it too, and he's really into it, my oldest son. But forever, I was just like, you watch movies, and if you play the guitar and you watch somebody play the guitar on TV or movies, you're like, they're not even close.
Right.
Like it's obvious that they don't play the guitar at all. But when you watch Michael J. Fox do it in Back to the Future, I was always like, holy crap, like he must have like taken really good lessons or something because it looks like he's playing the songs. And it wasn't until like 2 years ago that I found out, yeah, he can play those songs. Like he's actually a really good guitarist. He actually does play with Coldplay a couple weeks ago.
Really?
And I think they did Johnny Be Good at their concert. But yeah, so it made perfect sense. I'm like, okay, he can play. So that's why it looks like he's actually playing the guitar because he can play the guitar
Yeah, I wasn't just
really
making it up.
well. There you go. So I guess that's not really acting at that point, is it?
No,
But
it's
forever I was all
just
impressed. Like that's
performing.
some really good acting, pretending you know how to play the guitar.
Before we jump into the real reason we're here and the reason we can talk about it, what is your opinion on them ever remaking these movies?
Man alive, I think they would do so well. I do like the fact they've talked about Tom Holland. Is that his name? Spider-Man
Oh, he's
being
the
in
perfect Marty McFly.
it looks just like Marty. Like it'd be perfect. I don't know who you get to play Doc Brown.
You just get
Well, didn't they
Christopher Lloyd
say?
again.
Well, didn't they? What's that?
You just get Christopher Lloyd again.
I
You
know,
get
right?
he's
No, dude.
he's old, right? But
No, yeah,
he
yeah.
looked old back then. Like he
Yeah.
looked 80 back then.
That's what's crazy. He's never really aged, but we saw him at FanX last year, and he's definitely aging. So he
Mm.
finally looks the part. But I think they said even like Robert Downey Jr. could play like Doc Brown or something like that. But I think
Uh,
he's a little bit too confident. Would that be the word
yeah.
to play Doc Brown? I'm sure they could figure it out, but I think it'd be huge. But I think what's his name, whoever has the rights to Back to the Future,
Robert
he would
Zemeckis.
he would have to pass away before that
That's what
ever
they're waiting
happens.
for.
So
I'm sure it'll come. I'm confident it will happen. Do I want it to? Not really. I don't know. I think
it's tough. It's
they're so
hard.
perfect.
It's a crapshoot. Like I'm a huge Karate Kid fan, and so I was so excited for Cobra Kai, but then again, like I wasn't sure if it's because my fandom for Karate Kid that I loved the first season of Cobra Kai when it came out on YouTube, Red or whatever it was, but it caught on and it works, and so everybody's trying it because it's like it's a flip of a coin whether it hits or it's a miss. But I really do think you could even do a Back to the Future series. I
Right.
think you would have to do a movie and it would be huge.
If they were to remake it though, so say they did all three movies, how different would it look? Or
Would
would
you
they even
remake the three movies or would you kind of remake the first one and then do your own things after
That's
that?
true. Or they could do like, okay, we're gonna go to the Back to the Future at this point. We're gonna take 2025, for example, and we're gonna go back to 1995, or you know what I mean? Like you go back not from 1985 to 1955, and then when you go back into the actually go to the future, it's not going to be in what was it originally 2015.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then you just go forward more years, and maybe there actually will be flying cars and the hoverboards and the types of things that they put in the movie. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see if it happens someday. Not saying I have extreme feelings one way or the other. I think the movies are so good. You don't need to reinvent the wheel with it.
No. I mean, it'd almost be cool too if they didn't like remake them and just continue it somehow. Like maybe Tom Holland is Marty's son now,
Mm,
right? And he somehow, I don't know, but they could just continue it, make a series out of it that way.
yeah, very true. Great movies. In preparation for the episode, I watched all three of them. My wife had never seen the first one all the way through.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. So we watched it. She liked it, but she got lost on the second one. She was not as interested. So I was like, all right, I'll watch the third one by myself.
The second one's hard. The beginning's fun, and then it gets kind of slow in the middle, and it picks up towards the end.
Yeah.
So I get that.
Yeah, I always liked the second one just because I like to see the future and the idea of going back in time and being able to predict who's going to win and winning all sorts of money. I thought was really enticing. It is the lower scored per Rotten Tomatoes, just an FYI.
The second one,
Yeah, the other ones are like in the 80s, 90s, and this one's got like it's
interesting. I could
still
see that.
still positive. It's got a 63% and an 85%, but relative to the other ones, it's a little bit lower. But either way, three sort of certified fresh movies. That's pretty good. That's a it's a pretty good track record. So,
Yeah,
but
there
the
was I saw.
reason, oh, sorry, go
Sorry,
ahead.
I was saying I saw an article the other day where there's this guy who's with Down syndromes. He's 51 years old, and his brother made the post saying that his brother has watched Back to the Future, the first one, every day, if not twice a day,
Saw
for
that.
his whole life. And he finally got to meet Christopher Lloyd at one of the Comic Cons.
I
That was
saw that
pretty cool.
video.
That's pretty cool.
That was
But can you
cool.
imagine just You would have it memorized by then. Even if you're not the guy watching every day, but if you're just in the same household and you have to walk by it a bunch, you would definitely know Back to the Future inside and out.
I can quote it pretty well. I think I know it enough that we did start watching with my daughter. I was like, it's a little, there's some stuff in there that's not the best, but it was good enough that I knew when to mute it when there were swear words. So,
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, like I
but
said, my son's watched it a gazillion times. He even said the other night that he watched it online with some friends, like an online watch party.
oh yeah,
And even when he was in sixth grade, he for the talent show, he dressed up as Marty McFly
that's
and
right.
sang Johnny Be Good. Did a really good job. And it was awesome because like the kids didn't really understand it, but all the parents and teachers were just digging it. So
Right.
he did really good.
Great franchise, great movies. But the reason why we can even talk about this is because of the third movie and the third movie alone. First and second movie mostly filmed in California or all in California, right? But because of the nature of the third movie, again, we're giving you spoilers here. You've had 24 years to watch, wait, 34 years,
4 years.
34 years to watch all of these, and including the third movie. But in the third movie, um, Marty has to go back even further in time to the Old West because Doc Brown he ends up in 1885. So
Because the flux
because
capacitor was messing up.
he got struck by lightning, sent him back, yeah, by accident. So he goes back to save him because he's gonna get killed shortly after writing a letter that he sent to Marty, and he's got to go back and save Doc Brown from Buff. Is that his name?
Biff.
One of the variations of Biff.
Focus. Anyway, sorry.
What is that? You got a flux capacitor on your
I've got
watch?
my Fitbit
Yeah,
is the what would you call it? The control board or the
right.
time circuit board or whatever.
Yeah,
So it looks like that, but it tells the time and how many steps and stuff like that. But I'm surprised, even guys my age, when they look at my watch, like, what is that? And I'm like, you don't know
you
what
don't
this
even
is?
know. Amateurs.
But going back to Biff, saw him too at FanX. He was there. He spoke before Christopher Lloyd came out. It was good. He's a funny guy.
Yeah,
Sang some songs, told some jokes.
yeah. He's like a comedian. Is mostly his thing now, right?
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I was surprised. I thought even with the third movie that there would even be more scenes in Utah. And so since it's the Old West, everybody loves to film Old West shows out here, right? And you've got two scenes, two very iconic places that they show in the movie. And they actually both coincide. Like the whole scene is was shot in Utah, basically, right?
Right.
So, and we kind of I think we might have mentioned this place on a recent episode, didn't we?
Well,
We
yeah,
talked about
we might have.
drive-ins.
We might have.
Well, whether it's still there or not, there is a drive-in theater out in the Monument Valley area called the Pohach Pohachi Drive-In Theater, where they set up shop, and he's going to drive from the end of the theater to the other to get it to the 88 miles an hour needed to travel through time. Doesn't seem like it's around
Monument
anymore.
Valley?
Yeah. Yeah, it's in Monument Valley. So if they don't have this drive-in theater anymore, it's a dang shame because it is so beautiful. You've got the drive-in theater and then Monument Valley in the background. Like it looks great. I was
Yeah.
looking at it first and was thinking that almost looks fake. It looks so good that I was like, that can't be real. But it was. It they didn't need any background extra stuff for it. So
What they call it, the Desert Pohachi Drive-In.
So is it still around?
I don't know. Was not a real theater. It was constructed full scale for the third film in Monument Valley and was torn down after the portion of the filming was completed.
Oh, okay. There you go. I thought it was real.
Interesting.
Somebody was thinking this was in the pandemic times. They thought about making it a real place, but it was just, probably pretty hard to do that. So, not a real movie theater or a drive-in theater, but beautiful one at that. So you get two very cool scenes. One at this awesome drive-through that they built, his drive-in, and then another as he drives towards the Indians at the back of the theater, he transports back into time and ends up running into some real life Native Americans coming his way, attacking him, shooting arrows at him. And you get these great shots of him driving across Monument Valley. And that's it. That's the whole movie. That's all you get from Utah. Those two great scenes.
And scene.
But I think just talking more about the franchise as a whole, my favorite thing about it is that it's incredibly predictable. Once you've seen the first one, you know what's going to happen in a lot of ways in two and three. At least they stay consistent. He gets woken up by his mom or some variation of his mom in each scene, and he's telling her about his terrible dream, and she's like, "Don't worry, you're safe back in wherever it was," and he never ends up being where he actually thought he was. You're always going to have a chase scene with him and Biff's buddies, and usually ends up with them in some form of manure. Someone's going to call him chicken, and he's going to have to intervene. And one way or another, they're also going to alter the future. So, or the present, the future at the point that they're in. So it's consistent. It's fun. Those tropes that they always keep up with, you know what's coming, and that makes it such an enjoyable movie, I think.
Yeah, I believe like a lot of film schools will use the Back to the Future script as like a study guide type thing. Like
Mm,
here's a good example of an almost perfect movie. Has a
pretty
little bit of
pretty
everything.
darn near close.
And a lot of people have tried to make time travel movies. The only one that's probably come close is Bill and Ted's.
Mm,
But other than that, yeah, Back to the Future takes the cake.
yeah. I mean, there's logical flaws, of course, but I think it's a pretty good time travel movie. Does a really good job. And it was interesting. I haven't watched it for a number of years, but watching it this time around, I wonder how much what they built in, and maybe it's just time travel principles in general, but as like a lot of things I've heard from different things, like a Marvel movie, for example, like they deal with time travel and going back in time and fixing things, creating alternate timelines and that sort of thing. Like a lot of this, Back to the Future did it first. And I don't know enough about time travel theory and books or whatever, but I'm like, it was probably set the stage for a lot of movies in the future to borrow from time travel principles in these
I think
movies.
so. I think so. And it's like to me, it's almost a timeless movie too, right? Like you can just, it could come out in theaters today and just, it would still work, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, 2015 didn't look anything like what they envisioned it would. Well,
Do you
in
think
some ways,
they call the hoverboards because of Back to the Future too,
they got to, right?
right? That's the closest thing we got to the hoverboard.
Yeah. Trying to think what else. I mean, the shoes don't lace themselves, but the shoes he wears look similar
Well,
to.
didn't they make a pair recently in the last few years, and now they sell for tons of money if
Oh,
you were able to
really?
get it?
That are
Yeah,
like self-laced shoes.
I think so. Or
Oh,
the Marty McFly shoes,
that's pretty cool.
self-drying jacket.
That's the thing.
No, that would be cool. They kind of do. They have those jackets now that have heaters built inside of them.
I mean, they've got. I mean, could you do video calls back in the day like they do in the movie?
Yeah, yeah, we kind of do.
No, I'm saying like you know, in those days, like you couldn't do a video call like that, but now you can FaceTime,
FaceTime.
do that sort of thing very
I think it's
easily.
interesting that they thought that fax was still going to be a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and it shows a scene of them with like basically looks like the Apple virtual reality type things on.
On the VR set.
Yeah. So some things they were able to predict. We're nowhere, I don't think we're anywhere close to being able to have flying cars, but
We've actually had patents on flying cars for a long time, for like 20 plus years.
oh really?
I mean, it's not what like Back to the Future style. It's just cars that can fly. But the problem is being able to get airspace and be able to use the cars would be
Yeah,
one thing. So, timing just not there.
it's just not there yet. But either way, like you said, it's timeless. It's great. And I'm just happy that at least a small part of this franchise gave us a tie-in so I could watch the movies for some homework purposes and we could talk about it for an episode.
Yeah. Anything we can do to make the connection to Utah, we'll make it happen.
And it's the month of Utah, it's July, it's Utah month basically, so why not highlight another great movie filmed here?
Now I want to go watch it.
Go do it. They're all on Netflix. Check it out.
Sounds so much better than watching Harry Potter, I'll tell you that much.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Until then, thank you for listening to This Is a Place podcast.
And this was a movie we just talked about.